Joshua chapter 13. There is still much land to be possessed. God's promise continues. The great battles have been fought. Joshua's sword is beginning to rest. Jericho has fallen. 31 kings have been defeated. Israel stands in the land God promised to Abraham centuries before. Surely the journey is over, or is it? As Joshua grows old, God speaks again with surprising words. There is still very much land to be possessed. Joshua chapter 13 reminds us that God's work is not finished simply because we have experienced victory. Welcome to a new season in the book of Joshua. The maps are being opened. The tribes gather. A new chapter unfolds. The story is no longer about conquering cities. It is about faithfully receiving what God has promised. Joshua chapter 13 marks a major turning point. Joshua is now advanced in years. After many victories, the Lord reminds him that portions of the promised land still remain unconquered. Instead of waiting until every battle is finished, God instructs Joshua to begin dividing the land among the tribes of Israel. The chapter first identifies the territories that still remain. It then reviews the inheritance already given east of the Jordan to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh through Moses. One beautiful detail stands out above all. The tribe of Levi receives no territorial inheritance. Why? Because the Lord himself is their inheritance. This simple statement reveals one of the deepest spiritual truths in the chapter. Let's walk through the chapter and discover more. Land still to be taken. When Joshua had grown old, the Lord said to him, "You are now very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over. This is the land that remains, all the regions of the Philistines and Geshurites, from the Shihor River on the east of Egypt to the territory of Ekron on the north. All of it counted as Canaanite, though held by the 5 Philistine rulers in Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. The territory of the Avites in the south, all the land of the Canaanites, from Era of the Sidonians as far as Aphek and the border of the Amorites, 5 the area of Byblos, and all Lebanon to the east, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hermon to Lebo-Hamath. As for all the inhabitants of the mountain regions from Lebanon to Misrephoth-Maim, that is, all the Sidonians, I myself will drive them out before the Israelites. Be sure to allocate this land to Israel for an inheritance, as I have instructed you, and divide it as an inheritance among the 9 tribes and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Division of the land east of the Jordan, the other half of Manasseh. The Reubenites and the Gadites had received the inheritance that Moses had given them east of the Jordan, as he, the servant of the Lord, had assigned it to them. It extended from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and included the whole plateau of Medeba, as far as Dibon, and all the towns of Sihon king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, out to the border of the Ammonites. It also included Gilead, the territory of the people of Geshur and Makkah, all of Mount Hermon, and all Bashan as far as Salakah, that is the whole kingdom of Og in Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei. He was the last of the Rephates. Moses had defeated them and taken over their land. But the Israelites did not drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continue to live among the Israelites to this day. But to the tribe of Levi he gave no inheritance, since the food offerings presented to the Lord, the God of Israel, are their inheritance, as he promised them. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Reuben, according to its clans. The territory from Aroer on the rim of the Arnon Gorge, and from the town in the middle of the gorge, and the whole plateau past Medeba to Heshbon, and all its towns on the plateau, including Dibon, Bemeth-Baal, Beth-Baal-Meon, Ahaz, Kedemoth, Mephath, Kiriataim, Sibmah, Zareth-Shahar on the hill in the valley, Beth-Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth-Jeshimoth, all the towns on the plateau, and the entire realm of Sihon king of the Amorites, who ruled at Heshbon. Moses had defeated him and the Midianite chiefs, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, princes allied with Sihon, who lived in that country. In addition to those slain in battle, the Israelites had put to the sword Balaam son of Beor, who practiced divination. The boundary of the Reubenites was the bank of the Jordan. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Reubenites according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the tribe of Gad, according to its clans. The territory of Jazer, all the towns of Gilead and half the Ammonite country as far as Aroer near Rabbah, and from Heshbon to Ramath-Mizpah and Betanim, and from Mahanaim to the territory of Debor, and in the valley, Beth-Haram, Beth-Nimrah, Succoth and Zephon with the rest of the realm of Sihon king of Heshbon, the east side of the Jordan, the territory up to the end of the Sea of Galilee. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the Gadites, according to their clans. This is what Moses had given to the half-tribe of Manasseh, that is, to half the family of the descendants of Manasseh according to its clans. The territory extending from Mahanaim and including all of Bashan, the entire realm of Og king of Bashan, all the settlements of Jair and Bashan, 60 towns, half of Gilead, and Ashtaroth and Edrei, the royal cities of Agi and Bashan. This was for the descendants of Machir son of Manasseh, for half of the sons of Machir, according to their clans. This is the inheritance Moses had given when he was in the plains of Moab across the Jordan east of Jericho. But to the tribe of Levi, Moses had given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he promised them. Lessons and teachings. 1. The conquest is not complete. There is still work to do. There are still very large areas of land to be taken. 13. 1. Joshua was old, but the work was not finished. For us, we must continue to advance God's kingdom. 2. God promises to drive out the enemy. I myself will drive them out. 13. 6. God will do what he promises. For us, trust God to deal with your enemies. 3. The land is divided according to God's plan. The inheritance is described in detail. God's order is precise. For us, trust God's plan for your life. 4. The Levites receive no land. The Lord is their inheritance. 1:33 p.m. The Levites had God himself. For us, God is your ultimate treasure. 5. Each tribe receives its portion. Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh receive their inheritance. God provides for each tribe. For us, God has a unique inheritance for you. 6. The promised land is a gift. Moses gave them this land. The land was a gift from God. For us, salvation is a gift of grace. 7. Joshua distributed an earthly inheritance. Jesus Christ offers an eternal inheritance that cannot fade. The Levites found their inheritance in God's presence. Today, every believer is invited into that same relationship through Christ. Our greatest treasure is not found in what we own but in belonging to Him. 8. There may still be land left to possess in your own spiritual journey. Perhaps God is calling you to deeper faith, greater patience, more forgiveness, a closer walk with Him. Don't assume that because you've experienced victories, God has finished His work. He continues leading His children from victory into maturity. And remember, the greatest inheritance you will ever receive is not a place. It is the presence of God. 9. The swords grow quiet, the maps unfold. Joshua looks over the land that generations had only dreamed about. God had kept His promise. Now it was time for every family to receive what had been prepared for them. The journey of conquest was ending. The journey of faithful stewardship was beginning. Coming next, Joshua chapter 14. Meet Caleb, a man who waited 45 years for God's promise. At 85 years old, he doesn't ask for comfort. He asks for the hill country where giants still live. His story is one of the greatest examples of unwavering faith in all of Scripture. Thank you for journeying through God's Word with us. If this message encouraged you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Until next time, may God's Word be the lamp to your feet and the light to your path. This is Whispers of the Word, where every chapter whispers the heart of God. God bless you.